What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Little Scale Cars YouTube channel. Today in the review box we have the all-new BMW M4 GT3 from MiniGT. So we've got two liveries to go over here, two different deco choices. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at these ones and see if they are worth adding to your collections. So getting started with our casting as usual, we'll only really look at the one. And we can just by a quick little glance around see that our casting proportion-wise is absolutely perfect. Like, this is spot on to an M4 GT3. We will go ahead and pop the real-life car up there in the top right corner so that you guys can get a little bit of a comparison. That being said, when we go into the actual casting itself, we will see that the vast majority of all of this is all going to be die-cast metal. So this is a very hefty casting. When it comes to our plastic parts, we really don't have much. We have this grille is plastic, and then like what's behind it, the meshing and stuff. And then the mirrors are plastic as always. And then it's the rear wing. And then obviously like your windows and such. But what you expect to be metal is mostly metal. And if we come down to our base is also metal. Our big diffuser casted into that, which just comes across as really, really good. So overall, this has just got a whole lot of metal in it. Then we look at what's actually casted in here. We have every little detail and body line that the M4 GT3 has. Doors down here, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. Overall, the casting itself was just executed really, really nicely. Moving into our paint and deco, that's where I have two different versions of a very similar. So as you can see, the kind of base colors are inverted here. The stripe that is black on this one is white on this one, and so on and so forth with the remaining colors, excuse me. So what we have here is we have our presentation livery, which is this one right here. And then we have the actual IMSA livery, the number 24 car that competes in IMSA. So this one, as you can see, we still get the kind of classic Team BMW factory colors, but we have a lot less sponsors, so it looks perhaps a little less messy if you're not a huge fan of all the stickers and logos. You get the nice clean number 1 on the side, and then you get a handful of sponsors down here. Your wing says BMW M Motorsport, and then other side and back again, just a handful of little sponsors, a handful of little badges and stuff like that that indicate it's BMW. When you move on to the IMSA version, this is an actual racing version. Obviously, you get all the IMSA logos and stuff like that, the WeatherTech series, and then you get all these little extra logos and sponsors that just looks great. Number 24, you get the Class GTD Pro. And yeah, it just comes together really, really nicely. And these are just the two that I currently have. I do have number 25 from the IMSA program as well. However, I have not posted that one on Instagram yet, so I'm not going to be doing any review or anything like that for it. So when it comes down to our details, so starting up front, we have these really nice grills on both of them. And behind the grills, you can actually see, let me probably pull it up easier to see on this one. You can see that the kind of grill behind those is actually meshed. So that looks really, really nice. Both of them do have a BMW logo, which looks great. And then plastic inserts for the headlights. And then plastic inserts for these little extra running light kind of things as well. If we make our way onto the back here, you will see that we do get taillights that are also a plastic insert, and then just quite a bit more details back here that are all like, I'm going to say some sort of interior piece that are just been put in there, which looks really, really good. Exhaust back through here, and altogether, this just came out very nice in the details category. Moving into our roll test. They are mini GTs, so they roll, and they roll very, very smoothly. I went ahead and put them both on the scale, and they came out to be 52.5 grams, both of them almost exactly the same. So some definitely good heft to them. So for our pros and cons, starting off with our pros. The biggest pro is that this casting is just absolutely fantastic. It was done perfectly. The proportions and the execution of what's plastic and what's not is just phenomenal. And you really can't ask for much more, especially at the like $12 price point that we got. And that leads us to the other huge pro, and that is going to be just the fantastic liveries. So not only are this real life livery is it done absolutely perfectly, and then the presentation one's actually done very nicely as well, but there's already like 5 or 6, I think, different releases for this casting, with a few more on the way. So if you don't particularly like these choices, there's plenty of other options for you. That takes us over to our cons, though, and sadly there is one that I need to point out. So, my presentation model, if you look up here, you can see that there is a little bit of, like, I think it's adhesive glue that has kind of eaten into this paint, or something like that, which looks not great. It's a little hard to tell there, but you can see it there. That does not look great. And then moving down the sides, there's a few spots where the kind of whatever they use to paint this, if it's just like a big tampo or something like that, just didn't go through all the way, and we've got some almost like paint chips or something like that. So the QC is perhaps not the best on the presentation model. That being said, though, I don't have any issues whatsoever with the IMSA version, so it is possible that these QC issues were limited to the presentation colors. For some quick size comparisons, here it is with some other BMW models you might own, with the MSZ diecast BMW M850i and the Hot Wheels BMW M4 GT3. And here we have it with some other GT3 cars you might have in your collection, with the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 from MiniGT, and the McLaren 720S GT3 from Sparky. So with all of that out of the way, it is now time to give my overall final thoughts, and I think I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 9.7 out of 10. It is absolutely fantastically done. The casting is absolutely perfect. There's absolutely nothing wrong that I can come up with the casting itself. There are already a bunch of great liveries and a few more on the way, so there's really like no shortage of options for picking out a livery that you like if you perhaps don't like the liveries that I have chosen. There are a few QC issues that could haunt you, at least on the presentation model. However, I have not seen a whole lot of complaints about QC issues with either of these releases. So while obviously I did get some QC issues on mine, it does not appear to be a super common problem. So overall, I highly, highly recommend these ones to anyone who's a fan of GT racing or sports car racing of any kind. Anyone who's just a racing fan in general definitely needs to pick these ones up. I would say anyone who's just a fan of cars in general, especially BMW guys, these are ones you absolutely want in your collection. These are the best M4 GT3s in the 1/64th scale market right now, hands down. There are a few others out there, but they're nowhere near this kind of good when it comes to accuracy to real-life racing cars. I absolutely think that to miss out on this casting, at least entirely, would be missing out on, quite a bit.